else experienced the same kind of issues with our webinars?
Me too.
No?
I have.
You have? Okay.
Yes.
That's really good to know. I had no idea that that was happening, but I kind of had maybe an inclination that it could be because I was getting a lot of webinar kind of needs and challenges, but I didn't understand if the challenges was providing, watching, doing, and stuff like that. So thank you very much for letting me know. If you could email me, then I can talk to my colleagues internally, and we can look at what we can do.
Okay, I belong to the drilling subcommittee of the ACC, where we're to hold our meeting, the drilling subcommittee. I was really from Africa, so I was to dial in. On that day to dial in, it was not easy. I couldn't dial in. So the committee chairman said, sorry, that in Nigeria, it doesn't work in Nigeria also. So I don't know how this will be resolved because I'm still part of that committee. And I will not travel because of one day meeting to Houston to go and yeah? Thank you.
So your question is more related to conference programming meetings and your ability to digitally attend them, is that correct? You want to be able to dial into your committee meetings? Okay. We can take that offline and I can talk to you on the side after Janine's talk today. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Awesome. So Janine, you have 7 minutes. So I'll introduce Janine, the 2017 SPE president, and she's going to wrap up the session today, which is her experiences from sections and chapters.
Okay, 7 minutes. Okay. You've seen a lot of me over the last now 3 days, and so if you know enough about my personal story, I did start as a student section officer, and most of my SPE experience has been as a section officer. And so what I usually tell people is, and we talk about SPE's purpose, and we always think first and primarily that it's around technical development and technology dissemination and having technical papers and all that. But a very important part of it is the human element, the personal interaction, and what I really want to talk to you guys about is the personal development, the professional development that you get from being involved in SPE. And really when I talk about that is my own personal testimony. So y'all are familiar with people's personal testimony in church. And I really learned, church is popular here in Nigeria. Pardon me? Well, in the U.S., but you don't see Bible verses at an SPE conference in the U.S. like I have seen here. But the thing is that I learned how to be a manager really through my involvement in SPE. And a lot of our young people, and most of you are on the younger end of our membership, they all say they want to be in management. They're all interested in leadership development. And a lot of what I learned about being a manager and about leading people, I learned through my involvement in SPE when I was young. Before my employer gave me an opportunity to lead teams, I led teams in SPE. So you learn a lot about leading through influence, managing a team, organizing and setting goals. We talked about KPIs and some of the other, some of the sections, organizing, setting a budget, interacting with management. So when you go to get funding or to talk to your local management in your companies about what SPE can do for them. Really some of the other personal skills, like yesterday I was in the women's session and we talked a lot about networking and how important that is for your career. And we got a question, well, I'm shy and how do I start? And my answer was, you practice it. And you start learning how to network and what I call cocktail party talk. So, the stuff you do at the networking session afterwards. You just have to practice it. And a lot of us are introverted. Well, I don't know. A lot of you are not introverted. But a lot of engineers are kind of introverted by nature. And so it's a little bit hard for us to walk in and just start making conversation. But you need to, it's a work skill that you need to practice. And you can practice that at church or in another social situation, and you can certainly practice it at SPE. And another very important personal skill, I think probably the most important soft skill for someone who's aspiring to be in management or leadership in a company is presentation skills, being able to stand up like this and talk about your project or talk about what you're working on. And that's another skill that you can practice through your involvement in SPE. So not only getting up in front of the section and talking, but doing presentations like Energy for Me or Catch Them Young in front of a school group. That's an opportunity to get up and practice those public speaking skills. And all of that helps you develop not only technically as an engineer, but also interpersonally as a leader and then a manager. And you'll develop those skills so when the time comes for you to step up in your company, you'll already be polished, you'll already have a lot of experience in doing those things. So use SPE to help you, as you're a section leader, develop your own personal leadership skills that you can apply in your day job. And then the other thing just to mention, because I kept thinking about it while I was sitting here listening, another real advantage that you guys have, particularly the Nigerian group, is the diaspora, as I'm finding out you call that. There's a tremendous resource of Nigerians that are not currently living in Nigeria that are a tremendous network and resource for you. So for speakers, for connections, for furthering your professional network. I know that within Chevron, and I'm sure within Shell, the Nigerians all know each other. They network among themselves and use that to help you build your programs and to build your influence. Again, I've been tremendously impressed with the level of professionalism and the excellence of the section operations here in Nigeria. We have 200 or so professional sections globally, and all five of the ones here will either be gold or president standard, and that is tremendous, and it just shows what a great job you guys are doing. But don't forget about developing yourself through your involvement in SPE. Again, it's been my privilege. I appreciate what you do. For most of our members, you are SPE. It's not Blaine sitting in London or me on the board of directors or Yemi and Tony and all the other guys who've sat on our international board as the Africa director. It's the local section. It's the people they see locally that really are SPE. So you are the point of the spear, as they say, as far as delivering technology and skills to our members. So thank you again for all you do for volunteering. I'll take some questions, I guess, if we've got some time. Not a lot, because we have to get out of here the dinner's over there. Okay, so I can take a couple questions if somebody is brave enough. Well, okay, go ahead.
First of all, we have to thank you for spending this amount of time with us in this country. And when I heard you said that AI and virtual training is important to the new generation to come. We'll be glad enough if you can open a window, a virtual library for us to access, and also to retrain, to give some sabbatical to our professors to go back and retrain in those areas. Can the United States SPU afford that as a developing country to us?
Okay. So SPEI, as a member organization, we don't provide sabbaticals to professors. We help facilitate it, but we try to pair up or help people make those connections between companies and universities to do that. We don't directly provide sabbaticals. Our staff, the people that work for SPEI like Blaine, are involved in meetings and working with the sections. They're not involved in delivering the actual delivery of technical information. Similarly, around providing business connections, we don't do that directly. We provide the audience, the facility, and hope that you guys make your own connections. So we don't do that directly, make business connections on behalf of companies. That's not generally a service that we provide. Is that a good answer, I guess? Oh, sure.
Thank you, Janine, and happy to see you here again.
Oh.
I was in Dubai when
Oh, you were in Dubai. Okay, yeah.
And
A lot of
we
you
had
run
a
into me in
selfie,
different
yeah.
places, and I'm easy to remember, unfortunately, because I'm 6 feet tall and I'm usually standing at the front of the room. But I'll apologize. I'm bad with Nigerian names. If I well, they're hard for me. But if I don't see them, y'all say your names real fast, and I don't get it. I have to, and so the reason I look at your name tag is I have to look at it to get your name right. So.
Okay, I want to ask, because one of the things I asked you, and we were together and we talked about women development.
Mm-hmm.
In the course of your 1 year, did you tend to achieve what you proposed to achieve, or you aspired of achieving with women development and involvement in leadership? And maybe in SPE as a general, I don't know if there's anything that you did that, is better off now. And secondly, what are the challenges of your leadership? Well, did you encounter problems in your leadership with the 1 year?
Just for women or for leadership in general?
Generally now.
Okay.
And how did you overcome them? And what advice you'll give to maybe potential women that want to
So around women in SPE, and it's funny, I was approached by several of the women leaders in the I call them the GEO societies. So AAPG, EAGE, SEG, the geologic societies that we tend to do a lot of partnered meetings with. We have some overlap in our programming. And they were saying, well, we have a problem with women in leadership. And I don't see a real problem with women in leadership in SPE. I actually think women are overrepresented. When I go out and visit sections, there's a lot of women section leaders. I think more than the percentage of membership, because we don't track gender in our membership stats, but our guess is it's around 10% actually globally for the professional membership, but there's a lot more than that in section leadership. But what I wanted to see is more women being recognized and being visible. So, for example, our board that will come in when I go out as president, so our board that comes in October will have the most women that we've ever had on the board. It'll be 6 out of 28 members of the board of directors will be women. So that's the most we've ever had, so that's good. And also, I took on a personal crusade several years ago. I was at an SPE convention, and I looked at the list of award winners, and there were no women. And I was like, that is just wrong. And so my thought was, I tell people when I talk about leadership, when you think somebody needs to do something, that somebody is usually you. And so I thought, well, somebody needs to do something. There's no women that won awards. And then I thought, well, I can change that. So being an engineer, I made a spreadsheet. And listed women I knew in the organization and blah, blah. And I made a personal, concerted effort to either nominate women myself for awards or get someone to nominate, someone that I thought knew them better to nominate them for awards. And we've had a significant increase in the number of women getting distinguished members and awards, and almost all of them have my fingerprints on them because I either did it myself or I had somebody else nominate them. So you can make a difference in influencing other people. And if you've heard or seen on the web my kind of career development talk, when I talk about empowering other people, that's something you can do on behalf of others, nominate them for awards, nominate them to be visible, that can have a tremendous influence on their career. And it wasn't that hard for me to do, but it just took time and a little bit of effort on my part. So when people complain that there's no women, or there's no Nigerians, or there's no this. When there's a Nigerian, when Alex Nayin, who will win the honorary membership, which is our highest award in San Antonio, someone put together his nomination package. And it just takes a little effort to do that on behalf of someone else. And it's good karma. It comes back to you, I think, that if you do that for other people, it comes back to you. So there's more of this. And we also have a women's committee now for SPE to help look at programming. A lot of sections do women's events. Everywhere I've traveled, I've offered to do a women's event if they don't already have one, and then every time they have one, I'm on the agenda, just because I think that's part of my job as a woman leader. And it's been 11 years since we've had a woman president, so for a lot of the young people, they've never seen one. So I need to, part of leadership is being visible and being accessible, yeah. Oh, Challenges. I think overall, I mean, in general, the challenge right now, a lot of it is around the economy and people, you know, having their employer allow them to be involved in SPE. And you can usually sell it to your employer as it's part of your personal development. It develops leadership skills. It's free. You know, they're not paying for leadership development. But also the other big one is the big crew change. That in a lot of sections, they're making that shift from my generation who's been involved for a long time, and a lot of those guys are retiring or have retired in this downturn, to really pulling up the YPs into the section leadership. And it's an adjustment. And, you know, some people like it and some people don't in some sections. But I think the employer support and the generational change are the two big challenges. Yeah. Anything else? Thank you guys very much. I'll see you tonight at the banquet.
Thank you very much. A very big round of applause for the president of the SPE International. Thank you very much, Jenny. All right, we've come to the end of the workshop. First of all, I must say a very big thank you to everybody for your attention. It's been almost 2.5 hours, and you've all stayed here, remained engaged, and continued to contribute. I really appreciate that. Before we close the event, we had a icebreaker earlier today, and I promised some gifts to the best, to those who were able to solve the puzzle or remember the puzzle. And we have, can you help me again? And we collected the answers, and the only correct answer belonged to the team that sat in front, and that's Engineer Ugidegbe, the Africa Regional Director, and Professor Wale Dosumu. So, so please present the gifts to them. So they worked together and they were able to remember the puzzle exactly as it was presented. All right. So on behalf, I can close it, right? Okay. So on behalf of the committee members and SPE, I would really like to say a very big thank you to everybody, to the senior members, the BOT members, and the SPI president that have been present here. We've had a very long day today, and again to the audience, I thank you guys very much. I hope you've learned a bit, and I hope we've captured some of the learnings that we're going to be transferring across from one section to the other. It's been a very energetic session, and I really thank everybody for your time and for your effort. I will then say, have a great dinner, but before we leave, we'll take some pictures. If you would just step up, please. Yeah. Janine, Blaine, and the committee members, please.
And the rest of them can go. You want to tell them if they can go. We need to go that way. We need to shift left, I think.
Exactly.
Okay. Because he wants us centered on the thing.
Sorry. Okay, so
All right. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. No, don't take a general picture.
One picture of everybody?
Okay, we're here.
Are you? All right, so we'll take a general picture. Anybody who is interested?
As many as you can get, right?
Right.
downstairs. So at the point I was like, whoa, what's this?
You want some of this difficult chairs and get in front here?
You want some people to sit in front? Or sit, or sit.
You wanted to pull some chairs?
Okay. So why not?
Let's get some chairs.
Okay. Tony, where's Tony?
Oh, Blake.
Tony's
My everything.